the Heartbreak Boys tour, I am still here in the good old US of A in New York City. And who am I with but author of Jack of Hearts and most recently Camp is Lev Rosen. Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
You?
Welcome to America.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. I've been eating Twinkies and corn dogs.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Now, Lev, first of all, what delight have you bought for my virtual campfire?
I know, it's like perfect timing, what with my camp themed book and my campfire right here.
Gorgeous.
So I'm ready. I am more on theme than even you.
You really, really are. It's terribly atmospheric. I love the backdrop. It's gorgeous.
It hides my filthy bookshelf.
But great. And what have you bought to share with us?
Oh, well, I brought my hippo.
Now look at that. Look at that lovely stuffed fluffy beast. There. So tell me about Camp, a book I thought was an absolute delight. I loved reading it. It was just it was everything I've come to expect from one of your books. In that, you know, it was fabulous and funny, and a love story and a rom-com and some really sharp humor in it, which was delightful. And the whole location, the whole idea of this camp just sounds like a fabulous way to spend a summer.
Right? Don't you wish? And these are real camps. These are real. First of all, thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Welcome.
But yeah, no. When I came up with the idea, I had to Google if a queer summer camp even existed, and many of them do. And I am deeply jealous of the teenagers who get to go to those camps.
Right. That sounds amazing. I mean, gosh,
right?
how fantastic. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about the basic premise of this book for anyone who hasn't yet picked it up but is going to very shortly?
Yeah, sure. So Camp, and it's worth noting this is the American cover. The UK cover has the same patch, but has a camo background. But so Camp is a YA rom-com set at a queer summer camp. And it is about Randy, who's 16. He's been going to this camp for 4 years, and he loves the camp. He gets to be himself, and he has his people there. He gets to participate in the theater because he's a theater kid. He has his unicorn sheets. He's got his nail polish. He is an extremely happy kid. But for all 4 years, he has also been in love with Hudson Aronson Lim, who has no idea who Randy is. Hudson is mask for mask, and if you don't know what that means, he is essentially a gay man who thinks of himself as straight acting and is only interested in other men who are also straight acting. And Randy, with the nail polish and the unicorn sheets and the love of musical theater, does not fall into that category. But he is an actor, so this year he has a plan. He's given himself a total mask makeover. He is the mask dream boy, and he is going to win Hudson's heart, make him fall in love with him, and then once they're in love, gradually reveal who he actually is. This, of course, is a terrible, terrible idea and does not go as it should, or as Randy wants it to, I should say.
It's the sort of plan that could only be hatched by a hopelessly optimistic teenage boy.
Oh yeah, like a super romantic, super I can get anything if I put my mind to it, dramatic 16-year-old, which in many ways is what I was.
Lev, I mean, I've always, I'm as you know, I'm a great fan of Jack of Hearts as well. I really enjoy the way that you particularly portray kind of gay teenage boys on the page. What's sort of in your mind when you're creating those characters, and what are you trying to achieve in those books?
Well, when I started Jack, a lot of the impetus for writing Jack came from a sort of rage, and the idea that the sort of gay men I was seeing in YA were all the same story. Mm-hmm. They're all the same story. And maybe there was a coming out story, maybe it was more of a falling in love story, but it was generally the same story. They were all almost entirely white. And they were all very soft, and they were all like good boys. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
and to me that made no sense because almost every gay man I know as a teenager was a mess. Like, and it just felt so wrong that we didn't have like messy gay boys on the page. Gay boys with ridiculous plans that they're gonna like go for, who are like hyper melodramatic, or in the case of Jack, like the kid who's going out and doing his own romantic thing, let's say, and smoking cigarettes and all that. And that's not to say that coming out stories or stories about nice gay boys aren't important,
No.
but it's not the only story we have. And I
Sure.
think if you're a young gay teenager and you're looking around for representation and you just keep getting this one story back,
Mm.
like about this nice gay boy,
Mm.
then if you are not that nice gay boy, you start to feel like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
That's really sort of horrific to me. Like if you really just saw this one thing that you were allowed to be, and that's part of the, that's a lot of what camp is about too. This idea that, Randy is performing this masculinity, this conforming to the patriarchy that Hudson wants.
Yeah.
And it's sort of about the way, even within a queer culture and a queer space, we are told what the right way to be queer is, and
Yes.
there's never a right way to be queer.
No, absolutely. And I was interested when I was reading that because there are sort of similarities in that theme with Heartbreak Boys as well, where of course Nate sort of comes under a similar pressure from his kind of classmates as he's growing up to, in his case, to not be so camp and not be so sort of loud and proud and out there, but actually to tone it down, and to he kind of gets this feeling that it's sort of fine to be gay as long as he's a sort of safe, inoffensive type of gay, as it were.
Yeah, and I love that about him.
Part of what you're talking about as well, of course, with this representation of kind of these messy gay teenagers, is of course some of the sexual content, and your books are quite well known for not shying away, right, from those things. It's there, it's on the page, and you don't fade to black, do you, when you reach those moments, which of course I would say the vast majority of books do. How does that work out for you? I mean, I love it, and I think it's so important to have it. Do you ever come up against much either sort of criticism for that, or people who, get nervous of that sort of content in books for teenagers?
Well, it's good to know I have a brand. Maybe I should have worn nothing under the vest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting because Jack of Hearts, even though they discuss the sex very frankly, and like there's, a guide to sex, various types of sex in there, and it's very explicit, the actual sex scenes are not on the page, and that's because it was about Jack sort of owning his sexual narrative. And in this one, there is a sex scene. There's one sex scene. I've been told the book is hot, which I'm always like, oh my, I didn't know that. I really didn't intend for it to be like that kind of a book, and it wasn't in my mind. But I'm thrilled people are enjoying it.
Yeah. But
yeah, there is one sex scene, and what I wanted to do with that sex scene is really sort of model healthy gay sex, because I feel like, and when I was selling Jack, when I was, doing all the pitching and publicity for Jack, I remember like talking about, I wrote a piece for The Guardian about, I gesture at you because you're British. I wrote a piece about like the fact that gay teenagers, when they look for sex education, it's not in school. And so they usually turn to pornography. And Jack was essentially my attempt at creating a peer who could give them the sex education they were lacking. And so in camp, I wanted to take it to the place where we're actually sort of seeing that sex scene and seeing everything Jack recommended in practice. I have not gotten any angry emails, which is nice.
Good. Always a pleasure.
I know. I've been a little shocked by it, but maybe at this point they know there's no point.
Absolutely.
but I think that a lot of people have responded positively to it, and a lot of people in the reviews, it's worth noting that I have seen in the reviews, they have been like, well, because of this, it is, 16 and up, which is very old for YA. And in my mind, that is not what this is definitely a 13, 14 and up. I think 13-year-olds know about sex, believe it or not.
Oh, Lev, I have this argument all the time with people. I think, there's still a lot of people in kids publishing who have their head in the sand about what 12, 13 and 14-year-olds talk about and think about, and in some cases what they're actually getting up to. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, no.
On that note, we should probably wrap it up at this point. But Lev, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you here in fabulous New York City, where we are.
Thank you so much for visiting, and congratulations on Heartbreak Boys. It is truly astounding, and I hope everyone watching this goes out and buys, a good 15 copies.
Yes.
And just devours it, because it is. Oh man, it's just such a wonderful, I want to talk more about it. It's just like the way you juxtapose everything and the two guys and the way that they influence each other. It was just so beautifully done. It was like music. It was wonderful.
Oh, Lev, you're very kind. Thank you. That does mean a lot. Thank you very, very much. But my tour is going to continue, and I'm just wondering where I am going to be heading next.
Yeah, so I'm going to put you in a crate, and I'm going to mail you to my dear friend Julian Winters in Atlanta, that's Georgia, and say hi for me when he lets you out. I think I'll put air holes in it. I think I did it right. We'll figure it out, but you should get there in one piece. It'll be fine.
Well, if the tour ends at this point and there's no more videos, we all know what's happened. So
I think I put air holes in.
Lev, it's been awesome. It's been so good talking to you. Thank you so much.